Okay, we're live on the Scent Spotlight.
Wow, that was easy.
So I'm joined with probably not just like the best graphic designer on set, but probably one of the most creative people I've come across on the site as well. And I'll start off with the question that I ask every single one of my guests in as many or as few words as you like. Introduce Scent and everyone listening to No Shot.
Well, that is a pretty grand opening. Thank you. I saw that you asked this question to people, and I was trying to think about what to say to this because I figured you'd ask the same to me. And it's a really tough question. I mean, to me, I'm just a guy with my work and what I do, or what motivates me and gives me passion to actually make things is the creative side of things, like you're saying. I'm someone that's driven by concepts or ideas behind things, not just the visual. I love the visual. I love like something to look, really beautiful or eye-catching, but I don't get motivated enough to just make things for the sake of the beauty in it. I can appreciate stuff like that. There's a ton of great stuff out there that I look at that's just beautiful. But me personally, in order to be motivated enough to make things, I'm more of a concept person. I come from an advertising background. I went to school for graphic design in general. I always knew I liked art, but when I graduated, I basically was like, yeah, I want to make and design things, but I want them to have like an obvious goal or purpose, because the challenge of like making a concept or transmitting like a message to as many people as possible in the most simplest kind of elegant way, to me, that seems like a really fun challenge. And that's why I went into advertising. My career's kind of went in different directions since then, but I feel like, I guess as a person, as a designer, I'm just someone that is super passionate about technology and different things, all wrapped up in design, but like ideas first. And those are the things that kind of keep me up or get me so excited that I want to make stuff around it.
I mean, based on everything that you've shared on Scent until now, that really resonates with probably why I've been attracted to a lot of your work. It's that kind of concept driven or concept focused nature of what you've done. Like I remember you had that Moody series in the very beginning.
Yeah.
But then you had responded to one of my requests for graphics for one of the spotlights. And you just kind of nailed the concept of what I had always envisioned a graphic for the spotlight being. You had the Scent logo, and just from the Scent logo colors, light emanating out from it. Your lighting is dope.
I like using light. Well, yeah, thanks. I mean, I think the original Moody stuff was kind of an exploration into just trying to make something visually compelling. But even that stuff, I always have to add something to it. So there had to be some sort of concept or surrealist, some kind of idea wrapped up in each of those in order for me to like enjoy making it. I feel like everything I make, I have to kind of push in some area that I haven't been yet, so that I feel like I've made something unique or new. I don't know if it's a pride thing or what, but like if I follow like a tutorial or something, I never finish it because I keep trying to add my own flair to it and then never finish it. But then I end up making something, and then you learn something new. I really resonated with a lot of what Goldstein and stuff talked about with you about, just learning and kind of hitting the ground and just trying things, because I think a lot of people see stuff and get intimidated or think that they can't make it. But I'm a big believer in like I think it's 80-20 rule or whatever it is, but that 20% of the tools you use like 80% of the time. And for me, that happens like once you find something that kind of works for you, you work on that a lot and you use those same tools over and over, and then you get better at them. And then people see it for the first time fresh and they go, whoa, I don't know if I could do this or that, but that's because they're the tools I've been exploring for so long and someone else is doing other things. But yeah, no, I appreciate the comments on the concepting stuff, because that's what I try to do. When I was doing the original Rizzle image, I mean, I just try to think of what are we trying to say, what are we trying to get across, and then first I start there, and then I try to wrap it up with the imagery to make it pretty in some way. But to me, I think things shine when someone looks at it and they initially get drawn in with the eye, but then they go a little deeper and they're like, oh, they really thought about this, or the way these play together, and oh, the whole thought of this is captured in this one image. And that's what excites me in design.
For sure. And another, like, just to keep going through like your list of hits, one of your projects that like really struck me, and like I look at it every day, is the scent wallpaper that you did with like that facade filled with holes, and then of course the scent logo coming through, but then that little guy just chilling up in one of the circles, just like, what's he doing there? And then it's like, oh shit, it's raining. I love that, man. That's so cool.
Yeah, I mean, that was just adding layers of ideas too, and that came out of, I wanted to make something that people like scent, but I didn't want to just make an image. I wanted to make an image that someone could use practically somehow, like add that layer of usability. And that's why the wallpaper kind of series started, was because I was like, well, if they just look at it, that's great, but what are they going to do with it? So I wanted to make it very specific for that purpose.
You nailed it. And you mentioned like some of the tools that are just generally that you kind of find and you really dig down into, and you just see what you can do with them. I know you've been into art and graphic design, it sounds like, for a while. So then just currently these days, like what sort of tools are you using most in your craft? And walk me through that, your creative process. I think that would be an interesting kind of glimpse into what you do and how you do what you do.
Sure. Yeah. So it's been kind of a journey where you just slowly add different, I just slowly add different programs and stuff all the time, where you try one thing and then it kind of gets added to the repertoire. But before I dive into it, like, learning programs can feel intimidating too. But I tell this to people sometimes, like in school, I was trying to learn like all the Adobe suite, like all the Photoshop, Illustrator, all that. And I remember being like, I'm really like, oh, I'm going to learn all this. I got to just get into it. So I bought like these, they were called Classroom in a Book, big book, but they're pretty big books, but I don't know. There's these books that my teacher recommended, and I bought one, I remember, for Illustrator, and it was so intimidating. It was so much stuff. And then I never read it. And then I just was making things because I needed to make stuff in school or learning this and that. And I found it like 3 years later, and I looked at the thing and I realized I flipped through all of it, and like every single thing in there I could do it, not necessarily the way that they said it, but I was like, oh yeah, I could do that now. I would do it this way or that way. But there's something about just trying to make things, and even if you just watch tutorial to learn one specific thing to do, you add that, you watch one more thing, you add that, and all of a sudden you realize you know so much more than you did, and it's gradual. So I'd just say that as like a point of motivation to anyone that wants to learn things. Just learn what you need to learn to make something, and then you slowly add things over time. For me, Photoshop's kind of my jam. I mean, I spend a lot of time in there because I use it for work and everything the most. So I jump in there a lot just because it's my safe space. I don't get intimidated because I know how to use all the tools in it. It doesn't scare me. Illustrator I like as well. I love vector at work. I love using like the pen tool. Pen tool's my favorite. Love how controlled it is. I use the pen tool all the time in Photoshop as well to cut things out and stuff. But the pen tool is just points and Bezier curves, so you can make really smooth shapes and everything. And so Photoshop and Illustrator are definitely go-to places. But I've been using a lot of Procreate, if you see on some of my making of videos. Mm-hmm. And I like making the making of videos too, because people are really curious right away, you know, how is this made? What's the process? And mm-hmm. I think those break it down and dispel some of the mystery of like, whoa, this artwork just appeared. But of course, there's a process in there, and I make mistakes and I retry things and figure out where I end up. And so Procreate, I've been using a lot more, and Procreate's just iPad, kind of Photoshop on iPad, but stripped down. I think it is paid, but it's definitely worth it. It's like $20 one time, I think. And it's made me feel much more freer as an artist, because I'm not as feeling like I have to make something really big or intense, like if I'm jumping into Photoshop. So I've been loving like lighter apps like that, which I see a lot of people using, like phone apps and stuff. And then for 3D, Cinema 4D is what I use the most. And that's just something I just wanted to learn 3D. I'd never been trained in it. And at one of my old jobs, I just watched some tutorials, downloaded Cinema 4D because I heard it was the most like designer friendly, and then used it for a concept for one of our clients we were pitching. I just like used it and to make this 3D type, and they liked it a lot. And so once we pitched it, they ended up liking it. So my company had to buy the program because the client wanted it. And then I learned it from there because they bought it. And yeah, I learned the basics. I'm not like a super pro at it, but I've been making all those trophies and stuff. And once I learned a setup to make those trophies in cinema, I've been just kind of iterating on it, and I'm excited to keep making trophies like that because I'm in one look, and so I'm constantly like pushing that one area, and I'm coming up with new ways to do these voxel squares in cinema, and so I think that'll lead me to a place that's really unique. Whereas right now it's pretty straightforward what I'm doing. It's mostly following a tutorial with my own creative whim, but yeah, I guess that's kind of going off tangents here. I'm having my coffee right now, but that's the 4 programs I probably use the most.
No, you're doing perfect, and you're going in just the direction that I was hoping you would. You kind of wrapped up with Cinema 4D and your works, your trophy work for CryptoVoxels and your no quests. Which, dude, I fucking love CryptoVoxels as well. I find it so creatively stimulating, and just I feel like a kid again when I have like a huge full box of just Legos that I can do anything with. You know what I mean? And it's just like there's a whole town of people that are building out their crazy ideas and dreams and quests in the same town. So you have to tell me what inspired you about CryptoVoxels? Like what captivated you initially for that project? What spawned the idea of your first quest? And just give us a sneak peek into quest number 2 that you're cooking up.
Yeah, for sure. So first of all, I agree. Like I get so excited in there, like thinking about new ideas. I'm on it. It's probably unhealthy right now. Like all my waking hours outside of work, I've been building on that, building stuff for Cent. And like, I've been such a lurker in the crypto space for so long that once I got my voice within Cent and now CryptoVoxels, I've just been like not eating as much and like not sleeping because I can't stop making stuff. But it's just super exciting to me because yeah, my brain, my imagination is going kind of getting so excited. I guess what originally drew me to CryptoVoxels was just, I'm personally intimidated by like coding and stuff. Like I get logic, but I don't know how to make it, and it intimidates me. And so being in a 3D world that I can just build intuitively, like that was the thing that drew me. And I was like, oh, I can make stuff. Like I can't make things that are interacting yet. That's coming. And I'll have to learn some code for that. And I'm just going to do it. You just got to face things that intimidate you. So I will. But I saw it and I thought I could make anything. And my first thought again is like, how do I make this more of a interactive or a deeper experience in my way, in my flair? And I wanted to make kind of rich environments, but the first thing I thought of is like, how do I make it so that people want to stay like and interact with it when there's no interaction? And so it's funny, I actually built a labyrinth for a Decentraland contest. That was like the first thing I did creatively in crypto, like maybe 6 months ago. I spent like 2 weeks straight on it, making this crazy labyrinth for one of their contests. And I think they wanted something just visually striking. And I went way too deep into like this super intricate labyrinth with like traps and mazes and puzzles. And then they never looked at it. I felt so burned by it.
No.
So I kind of just stopped on Decentraland. And then when CryptoVoxels came out, it kind of re-sparked that. And so Labyrinth came to mind. And yeah, I made the first Labyrinth that DeJure, I think she was the one that won that first one. And I'm going to make her a season 0 trophy because I'm doing a trophy room for all the people that have won. But
nice.
So I just tried making a Labyrinth again. I like making puzzles and things that people interact with. So a Labyrinth's kind of in a cube world, the first thing that comes to mind. And of course I wanted to add some flair, some images to make it feel a little richer, and some money prize just so there's like incentive. But I decided to make that. I think I grew up playing like Zelda a lot. It probably influenced me, like the temples and all that stuff. And I just like making things, and I wanted to make something you could interact with. But then my mind went crazy and I thought, how do I blow this out? How do I see the bigger picture? And I decided to make this quest like brand or bigger. I love how in crypto, and what drew me into Cent is like, I can put bounties out, or I can put money at the end of like games, and there's just real tangible things you can win with it. And I just think that's super cool. I don't know if do you know Coin Artist? Have you heard of her?
The name sounds familiar.
Do you know Blockade Games? They're making Neon District and stuff like that. So she's one of the early like women that made like paintings with crypto hidden in it and like challenges in there. And I just thought that was super cool when I heard about that. And that inspired me too, to try to make things like this and puzzles. And then keep going on your question. So I'm super pumped about the next quest because I loved the labyrinth. I wanted to really build one out bigger and with the integration of the multiple keys you have to find along the way. And actually, before I get to quest 2, so quest 1 is kind of a funny, I was thinking about all the ways to make it, I guess, like cheater proof, because if it was just getting to the end, people could try to warp there or change their URL to just be at the end of the maze. And if it was at the top, like my original maze, people could jump. And if you jump, your head hits the ceiling above you and you can jump through the floor into the next level. So I knew they couldn't jump into the next floor. So I ended up making it from top down instead. That was my kind of aha moment. It was like, oh, I'll go downward. So the worst that happens is if they jump, they have to go back a level. And then to like make sure that people are going through the maze properly and not just jumping to the end or trying to warp to the end, I put keys along the maze. So key 1 and key 2 as you pass through each level, and you need those keys at the end. But funny story is when I posted about what time I was going to put it up, apparently people had warped into my maze and like figured it out. So I'm like setting up like before 6:30 my time when I'm launching. I'm like getting things ready. I'm like, last thing I have to do is hang up the seed phrase in the end of the maze, and then I can post that it's live. And no one was around me. I'm looking around. No one's around. So I have like all my links saved for each part of the maze. And so yeah, I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna hang this up and post it. And I have like butterflies getting ready. So I hit the link and I warped there. And I warped to the end of the maze, this little bunker in the basement. And there was like 7 avatars in there, like crowded up, like waiting for me. They had like warped in and explored already, and they were just waiting, like huddled in there. And I mean, at first I was like so bummed, but now it's just super funny to me to think about all these avatars waiting in this dungeon. And I had to like push them aside, like, excuse me, I gotta hang up this seed phrase here. And then as soon as I hung it up, they were at it. So that leads into this next quest. I wanted to evolve over labyrinths because, you know, you're just kind of running around in circles, and that's fun for one, but I wanted to go a little deeper, more interactive. And so quest number 2, I think people are not going to solve right away. I mean, this one's a little more logic-based and puzzle-based, which I'm excited about. I'm trying to keep it so that anyone can play it. Like, if English isn't your first language and stuff, I'm trying to make it more just really logic. You don't need specific knowledge about words or whatever, but there's just a bunch of rooms, and you're going to go into a room, and every room is going to be a puzzle to solve a word, and the word won't be anywhere. So there's no risk of someone finding my pictures on the server or whatever, like I guess people were doing in my last one. I don't even know how to do that, but each room is going to have a word, and you have to solve what that word is and then answer a multiple choice question to prove you got it. Basically, it'll be like, you know, like how many letters are in the word. And if you know it and you click the right multiple choice, it links you to the next room. You're just warping through different rooms. And I got pretty pumped on this because I've made puzzles in the past with like visual kind of sounding out puzzles. And I got Puffin, who I love his writing, who's adding like this flair of kind of like mystery and like riddles and rhymes. I got Skeeny involved. Yeah, there's a lot of talented people in Scent. But yeah, so quest 2 should be done this week. And I'm really excited to see how people like it. I'm hoping it's a little more retains interest versus just, you know, kind of walking around in circles. I just want to make CryptoVoxels feel like, whoa, there's even more we can do with this. That's pushing that envelope. And I hope people enjoy it. I hope it's not too frustrating. Like, I also want to balance that, you know, people don't have all the time in the world to play stuff, but I want to make it fun.
Bringing this back to Scent real quick, I'm just curious, like, how did you actually stumble upon the site? Like, were you in a trust wallet or something and stumbled on the link? Was it referred to you? And then now that you've been on Scent for a couple months, just from your perspective, like, what would you want to see us build out more or focus on more to enhance the experience and to just keep pushing the ball forward creatively to make the site better and better? What are your thoughts there?
Good questions. So like I was saying, Scent kind of like was the first place where I stopped being like a crypto lurker. I just was on crypto Twitter for years. I've been in crypto since like before the 2017 bull run, I kind of got bitten by the bug of it, and then got super deep into it over the course of the whole bear market, and got even more bullish on the whole space. And I've always loved the idea of Ethereum too, but I was just in my Coinbase, the wallet. It used to be called Toshi, but it's just wallet now, I think, Web3 browser. And for a little while earlier on, they just had recommended app, and Cent was there. And the logo drew me in, so nice logo. I just checked it out, clicked into it. I didn't totally get it at first. I saw like the landing page, but I just signed up and then kind of very quickly figured out, oh, okay, there's this. Oh, you can place a bounty. That's kind of cool. And so, yeah, I just found Cent through being in the forefront of the wallet. And then I stayed because of the community. At first I was like, oh, maybe people only like me because I'm putting money out there. But there are so many awesome people, the community that does it. Like we talk in, DMs and stuff. And I've met so many people. I love that community aspect. I know a ton of people say that, but that's the thing about it that's kept me there. People genuinely are just excited about the space, and there's such a breadth of type of content, even with a relatively like smaller site right now. Like there's already such a mix of interests. I love how everybody's in different time zones. For me, I feel like a really cool thing, I don't know technically how it would work, but like we talk about NFTs all the time. I really loved how Rizzle like talked about in one of your podcasts about like, how do we like showcase these beyond just having in our wallet? And that made me think about having a physical digital frame. It'd be awesome. I don't know how to make it, but if anyone wants to hit me up, make a frame that you just hang up in your house that's just connected to the internet, and you just put in your private key. All it is a simple frame, put in your private key, and then it just filters through all your NFTs. It would be super cool to be able to easily showcase it that way. But that whole concept of like, what do I do with these? I think it'd be cool if Cent had like a trophy case. I don't know why I'm calling it a trophy case, but like, an area of your page where you can select to showcase some of your NFTs as part of your profile. I feel like that would be super cool to be able to show it off right on your profile.
No, I support that. I'm a collector myself. Yeah.
I have a question for you.
Oh yeah, shoot.
I love listening to your thoughts and everything. I love listening to your podcast with Rizzle because you're really focused on an area of Ethereum and crypto space in general that's like super exciting to me. And I love hearing your thoughts. You're very kind of practical about everything you think about, but also it gets me excited about the future in a lot of these areas. What was your kind of aha moment in crypto that made you go like, oh, this is beyond just like some investment scheme thing to try to resell at a higher price? What was your moment that you realized the potential to the future of like NFTs or crypto in general?
Yeah. So like listening to your story and how you found crypto, like you were in crypto for a while, you're a lurker on crypto Twitter. The idea of Ethereum sounds like that really captivated you back in the day. So it was really similar with me. It was like 2016. One of my buddies had at my place of work, he was like, bro, we need to go for a walk. So we went on a walk. He just dropped like Ethereum on me, programmable money. And then I was just like, hold on, what? Because I had known about Bitcoin before, but like passive acquisition of wealth, like that speculative play, it wasn't like fundamentally interesting to me personally. But like this idea that you could program money to just automatically execute certain promises that you had established between other parties trustlessly, like that was interesting. So then I, of course, wasted the whole rest of the day of work just like Googling Ethereum, and that was it. Like I was just mind blown about this space, and I started scooping from that day. Opened up an account over here in Asia. But then for like the next year and a half, well, the DAO happened. And then it was just like, what? I really want to find something to actually use this crypto on. And then that's when beginning of December 2017, CryptoKitties happened. And then literally like that week, I had signed up to Cent. Again, like you mentioned the bounties, that was my jump off point here. Is like, okay, a regular person can get into here. It's not like Gitcoin where you need to be a programmer basically to use anything or complete any of the tasks. And then I just started like on my old previous blog, I had this kind of like fan fiction series where I thought about Cent back at that really, really basic time when it was like a crypto Quora, and was like envisioning sort of like this virtual collaboration and these like organizations of like-minded individuals that are getting together, doing crazy shit in the world and like making money with it because crypto is at the heart of everything. And like that really, really, I guess, invigorated me. And like, I think it's like the promise of what crypto is. Like it's a very early promise and it's a very early glimpse into the huge potential of this space. And CryptoVoxels is building on that. Just like you mentioned, this great community that so many of the cool, talented, creative individuals that have joined this, they've really jumped off into the crypto art space, collaborating on other projects, doing cool things, sharing everything on Cent, or diving into CryptoVoxels like yourself and a bunch of others, just like exploring it, building things. And this is just the tip of the iceberg as far as I'm concerned. The fact that the group of people that have found it right now that are able to do what we're doing, just very basically, man, can you imagine in 2 years, 3 years, 10 years, what's going to be possible?
I'm excited thinking about it. No,
yeah.
I mean, Sense is awesome in that way. That made me realize this is the first place I can try to, it uses Ethereum that way where I can very immediately try to like use my talents and like see if people engage with it or appreciate it and monetize things too. And I'm hoping that at some point I can leave my traditional work and just be a digital like craftsman, like basically make I'm making games right now, but I'm trying to pair up with other people so that we can like, I want to be able to make things in the digital realm and have like a business that people will swing by and like buy things. And the promise of being able to tokenize things and stuff, and Sense like a perfect use case. You make good UI, you make it easy to interact with where anyone can kind of jump in and it works. We just could not do that before. And the future there is so exciting to me within VR. I love VR, I love tech in that way. And there's so much to come that, yeah, it gets me super excited.
Yeah. And these relationships that we're forming, like I've never been a part of any digital community where I've like reached out to other people and just speaking to so many people. And it's not just me. It's like everyone, like there's a ton of other people doing the same thing. Like, yo, reaching out in the DMs, like, oh, I have this idea. You want to link up? Like these relationships are going to form the core of a really exciting, just collective of people who like, when this starts to catch on in a even bigger way, we're just going to be at that position where we're like, okay, I think I can become a digital craftsman.
Yeah, I'm excited. And I agree with the meeting people. You seem really good at it, just being able to call people and interview. So you seem like you do it all the time, but I'm as well, like grew up with internet and stuff, but like never really like jumped headfirst into a community like I have with Cent and like CryptoVoxels now, where I have so many like people that I talk to every day now in DMs and stuff that I feel really close to because we have similar interests. We have different interests too, but like I've never been part of a digital like kind of community in this way either. And I encourage anyone like listening, we're all so early that anyone wants to talk to anyone else. And so reach out to people, because if someone does well or builds something interesting, like if I build something interesting in CryptoVoxels, then more people want to come and then they're near your build. Or, you know, I love all the things you're doing in Cent, like the podcast and all the interviews and stuff. Like the more success you have there, the more people come there and see what we already see is the potential in it.
That's a beautiful way to wrap this up. So before we leave, is there any other sentient or any other user on Cent that you'd like to get to know more or see spotlighted?
Ooh, you know who's like kind of someone that is interesting? I look at a lot of their art. It's super simple, and I don't know if a lot of people, I think their name is Sistiris. Yeah, it's super minimal, and it's kind of like mysterious. They just put out, they don't say anything a lot, and it's really intriguing to me. So I'd love to hear more about their story if they were open to it. But yeah, I love their stuff.
Same here. Yeah, I was intrigued the first time I saw them. I'm like, what? And then I saw their caption and they like reference like Heidegger and Nietzsche, and she's like,
oh yeah, right. Yeah, it's so trippy. I don't know, but it's good. It's mysterious.
All right, no shot. Well, it was a pleasure speaking with you. Yeah, thank you so much for your time, man. Stay building.
Thank you. It's an honor. Thanks.